Welcome to Western Door Paranormal. My name is Tony Burtis, your host. Now, today we are in the Jewish section of the Cheektowaga cemetery system that I kind of keep going back to every now and then. I was here last year a little bit when I did an overall investigation of the Cheektowaga cemetery system, so-called because it's actually a colossal cemetery, but it's made up of multiple smaller cemeteries that join up to make one massive cemetery. Now, this area here is a smaller one. It's a Jewish cemetery, and the location I'm in has always given me, now when I say problems, I don't mean problems as in something super negative, but just feelings, emotional feelings of anguish, despair, fear, frustration, like I'm seriously not wanted here. Like, I'm here right now, and it kind of takes my breath away a little bit. It's kind of like you're rasping a little bit, and that's what I'm experiencing right now. There's just something about this area here that tends to want to push you out of it. Now, I've gotten many orb pictures here in the past, but so far everything I've gotten back here has been just feelings. This is my first attempt at actually documenting once and for all this neck of the woods back here and communicating with whatever might be here to try and get out of it what exactly is going on. What do you want? You know, what is the problem? Now, one big problem that might have a lot to do with this neck of the woods back here is the monument behind me. Now, buried underneath this monument is cakes of soap that were made out of the bodies of Jews that were tortured during the Holocaust. Now, that all by itself, I can see where that would bring up serious negative connotations. So it could be residual from that. There could be spirits here angered over that justifiably, but those spirits also have to know that that's over with and they can move on. There's also a cairn that I will show you a little bit later that seems to be some kind of odd labor of love. Is there a body underneath the cairn, or is it a memorial because somebody couldn't afford to buy a regular stone that was built there and somehow they got away with it? Now, the monument's deteriorating. Is that a reason why that this area seems negative? There's also a lot of stones that are just kind of all put together. A lot of them are tipped over. Could it be those spirits who are mad over the neglect of their stones? Now, the area is nice and mowed. The area has been taken care of as far as the wildlife and the foliage go, but the stones have not been put back up. Is that the reason why the spirits are angry here? I'm going to try and once and for all, like I've said I was always going to do, come back here, put all fears and trepidations aside, and try to get the answers to find out what's here and possibly, hopefully, help something move on. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do a base sweep of this general area. Now, I'm not going to do a base sweep all the way back to the road. I'm going to kind of keep this contained to this general vicinity that you see behind me. Now, to do this base sweep, I'm going to use a ghost meter. What's important with this ghost meter, it actually, when you turn it on and it detects a EMF field, I can tell not only by the dial going from green all the way to red, I can also tell by the lights here that will actually flash on and off. Now, what's important about this is we're way in the back. This time, there's no wires, nothing that should give me an EMF field. This area should actually be very clean. So anytime any EMF field I come up with in this area is a lot more significant, in my opinion, than one if I was to do something and there was visible wires. I also highly doubt that there's any underground cables here because this is a very congested cemetery and these cables would literally have to be going through all these coffins, which I find that extremely unlikely. So I'm going to bring the camera with me when I do my little walk around here with this ghost meter so I can document any possible EMF fields I might pick up. Got the ghost meter here. I'm going to do a generalized move through of only this vicinity. And I want to see if I get any spikes. Like I said before, any spikes I get here are significant because there's no wires, there's no reason for any EMF jumps. If there's any spirits here that want to communicate, interact with me, I'm sure there are, please let me know. Give me a sign of your presence. You can walk up to this meter that I'm holding and make the little lights go off and make that little needle go from green all the way to red. What do we got? Okay, I just got done with the base sweeping. Like I said before, I only did a certain area, pretty much the area that you can see behind me, and a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right, to see if there's any anomalous EMF leaks or fields that might be consistent. And the area was very clean. Now, what this actually means is anything I get from here on in, EMF wise, is significant and could possibly be considered paranormal. E.V.P. stands for electronic voice phenomenon. It's the capturing of a disembodied voice on an audio recording device. And it's one of the most common pieces of paranormal evidence that I catch. Now, I got a lot of them at St. John Cemetery. I was doing some questions and answers at the monument where the soap bars are buried, the ones that were actually made from the bodies of the Jewish people. And I asked the spirits that were around if any of them had any links to the soaps that were buried underneath the monument. And as I was asking the question, I got a response that says, me. To one of these cakes of soap, you've moved on. You don't have to be angry anymore. What happened to you was her. This following EVP is a male voice that simply says, rest. Now this next EVP is very interesting. It starts off with what sounds like 3 female hums. There's a slight pause, and then there's a voice that says, I see you. This next EVP is what we call a Class A EVP. A Class A EVP is one that's so crystal clear, it's completely undeniable. This one is what I believe to be a male voice that says, hold me. VVP stands for Video Voice Phenomenon. It's similar to an EVP, except it's when you capture a disembodied voice on a video recording device. Now, this one here is very unique, and it's also a Class A. Out of nowhere, it just says, thirst. Now, a common piece of evidence that you get is simply a random breath or breathing, and that's what we capture in this next VVP. Now, this next piece of evidence is another example of a Class A VVP. Now, a male voice seems to say, gracious. Now, I'm kind of hoping that was referring to me as an investigator. Now, in conclusion, St. John's Cemetery. It's been always my feeling that there was paranormal activity in that particular part of the cemetery based on the fact that the cairn is there, that monument that has the bars of soap that are made from the remains of the Jews during the Holocaust. It all kind of adds up to make for a place that would be screaming in paranormal activity. Plus all the feelings you get there, the air seems to get more tense. We've been there before where it just seemed to get dark. Insects would just come randomly out of nowhere. We've had a lot of things happen to us in that part of the cemetery. And it is my opinion that St. John's Cemetery, at least in the very back where we were conducting our investigation, is very haunted. A matter of fact, I think I've got more evidence there that I got in St. Mary's Cemetery and Gutenberg combined. And St. John's Cemetery in Cheektowaga, to me, ranks as one of the more haunted locations in Western New York.